Hi and welcome to my video. This is about what many people know as the Canadian Stoke and sometimes as the Knife J. I do like the name Knife J because it tells you its relationship to the J stroke, but whichever. It's an elegant stroke and it's what a lot of us will revert to when the boat is running straight, we don't need much steering, and it's just a relaxing way of making distance. The thing with the J-stroke is it comes back to an angle, and according to how much steering we need, we put it on a lot of angle or a lesser angle. But as we need less and less steering, the angle can really drop off and it slowly morphs into the Canadian stroke. So there we go. There. So as it comes back, it doesn't really drop into a steep angle, drops into almost flat, tiny bit of forward edge, and then goes through the water and lifts water at the same time. And as soon as we have enough steering, take the angle off and it comes out. So there you are, back to there, and the main steering element is done on that sweep forward. If we need more steering, we can do more of a J at the start and maybe continue as a Canadian stroke, more of a J, but it's all a continuum, so I don't get too precious about that. Note that the power face becomes the upward face. Again, starting the canoe on this occasion, so a couple of good J strokes to get it running in a straight line, and now it's morphing into the Canadian stroke, into the Knife J. Although I've demonstrated with the broader paddle, actually in learning this, using an ottertail paddle, this is called a Kingfisher, it's from Freebird, one of my lovely paddles, needs some tender loving care at the moment, but because it's a tapered blade, it actually makes the Canadian come Knife J stroke much easier to feel. So again, and so if you've got one of these, I'd suggest actually changing over to it. Lena reminded me that if you actually do this a little bit faster, the blade makes a lovely zip noise as it exits the water, and for her learning the stroke, that noise was what gave her the key. When it was happening, she was doing the Canadian stroke, so that's her recommendation, go for the zip. So here we are starting out, a few fiddly little strokes into some fairly heavy J strokes, and here you are beginning to run straight. And here comes the Knife J, the Canadian stroke. I've done hundreds of miles on this. So here I've changed my grip slightly. My lower hand is inside the gunnel. I'm actually resting or levering the paddle off the gunnel. Is this still a Canadian stroke? Well, if you look carefully at the blade, it's still doing the same job. It's more or less horizontal and it's lifting water, so it's not a J stroke. So I would contend that even though this is a short version of it and using the gunnel, this is still the Canadian stroke. But I'd be interested in your opinion. But we'll keep to my habits. Back to a very traditional knife J. If I recall correctly, Bill Mason called it the knife J and said that south of the border, in the United States, they called it the Canadian stroke, and he'd take that as a compliment. So choose whichever name you like, but it's the same stroke. Thank you for watching, and if you could press the like button, that's really good for the algorithms. Comments are really useful and interesting for me, and if you really want to, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Filming. I'm getting worried about the cows behind me. How are the cows doing? They're getting closer by the minute. If we do several more strokes, they'll probably be stood on my shoulder. But there we go.